This card is a 7-mana 7/7, right? Which is not great, whatever. Your deck is 20 cards plus 20 copied from your enemy battle cry draw until your hand is full. All right, let me explain, okay? Let me explain. Here's what I'm thinking. This card is the most versatile card we've ever seen in Hearthstone. Ever seen in Hearthstone. If you want to play, if the metagame is extremely aggro, you could play aggro priest technically, but better. You know what I mean? If the control matchup is like the metagame, then you could play control priest and get 20 good cards from your opponent. This is also with all the other stuff you're gonna see release for priest. An aggro deck with more cards. How is an aggro deck with more cards bad? What are we talking about? Just because you have 40 cards doesn't mean that it's bad. I guess you're like less consistent in finding the cards you need. But if you're playing with aggro, right, as long as the other deck with you is playing aggro. Now, that being said, you're probably not going to be playing aggro regardless. I'm just giving you guys ideas. Very versatile card here. Very versatile card. Yo, Bosco, thanks for the sub, by the way. I forgot to mention that. Guys, do you know, by the way, that I stream every single day? Do you know the amount of people, or not every day, but do you know the amount of people who don't know I stream? And they think I'm just more Rarran on the side? Did you guys know that? It's super inconsistent. Okay, but hold on a second. Let me speak my mind here. Okay, let me speak my mind here. Okay, this card, maybe not the best card in terms of win rate, but can I say this? This is the most fun card I've ever seen in my life. On God, the amount of different things you could do with a card like this is beyond anything we've ever seen in Hearthstone. And maybe consistency is not the strong suit. But like, you could play this deck in so many variety of different ways that I'm super excited to play with it. Also, it literally feels like a different archetype every time you play it because you go up against different classes, which is fun. This is like maybe the best version of a rule breaker because of the amount of versatility, variability. Like, there's just so much going on here. Do people know that you see the opponent's cards in the mulligan? Alex, I didn't even know that, and I reviewed the card like 3 weeks ago. Like, I didn't even know that. It's I actually we should have asked that question. Fuck. Okay, but really, and I mean this genuinely, like, this is the type of card that I am super excited to play with. I actually do think it's still pretty good. I wish, maybe it wasn't 7-mana 7/7. I think that would be nice. But I think for a lot of you guys, you're going to have to wait and see what the other cards that synergize with this are. Because I don't want to say anything, obviously, because you guys are going to watch the video that Blizzard's going to release. But I think this card's great. I think people are going to be very, very shocked about how good this card can possibly be. But most importantly, if we think about Thief decks, right, which is like what people are probably going to compare this to, the hardest part about Thief decks is getting cards from your opponent. There's one of the reasons why Garona from United and Stormwind was good was because you get to be a different class, so you got to reduce your null. Obviously, that's insane, but it's like you're starting with a bunch of cards that are not a part of your class. I have to use quotations here because of the way that card interacted. Was it Garona from United and Stormwind? I want to make sure I get that right. Was it Garona or was it another legendary name? I'm not sure. Sherlock, I'm going to get to that in a second. Maestro, thank you, Alex. Thank you. Yeah, it was Maestro. I'm going to get to that in a second, Sherlock. Hold on a second. I've lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. Because now you start with the cards in your deck. If you need to use cards that interact with like Thief mechanics, it's a lot easier because now you don't have to spend the mana on the cards themselves. That being said, most of the time, and I'm hoping this is the case when you go up against your player, your opponents, because people will complain my opponent just has good cards. You just get their good cards. I'm extremely excited. Now, Sherlock in YouTube chat, shout out to YouTube chat. Everyone loves YouTube chat. Brought up a really good point. How does this card work in solo adventures? That's the real thing. Because that means all of a sudden, solo adventures become so much more interesting because now you get to use half of their deck. Or not half, but like 20 cards. You know what I mean? I'm very excited. Is it 20 unique cards for your opponent? I don't think so, Alex. You're gonna have to double check or tell me because I don't want to lie to these people. I think this card from a content perspective is amazing. I think this card from a competitive standpoint has a chance. but I don't want to say anything else until you guys see the rest of the cards. I'm a huge fan of this card. I hope this card is fun as fuck to play with because it looks fun as fuck to play with. It looks great. I love this set. I love the rule breaker mechanic. This is the shit I live for. All right, let's talk about Rogue. I was really excited to talk about Rogue with you guys because I thought Rogue looked insane after we recorded those videos. So let's talk about it. We saw Aya already, which is the rule breaker for Rogue. You got a 6 mana 6/3. You always go second. If you and your opponent are both playing Aya, it is a 50-50 on who goes second, again, just like a normal game. But if you're not going against an opponent that runs Aya as well, you are guaranteed to go second. You also, when you play Aya, get to pick an upgraded counter for a coin to replace your coins in this game. You can get Cabal coin, Grimy coin, Jade coin, and these are what the Jades look like. I'm not sure if they're supposed to be beasts or not. It could be the case. They kind of look like they look like beasts, not like golems. I don't know. Anyways, in case you're curious. But let's go through the good shit that Rogue got. All right, chat. We got Slice and Dice, baby. 5 mana legendary spell where play all other cards played this turn, targeting enemies if possible, end your turn. This card has so much potential, and it's so cool because of the other cards that we got for Rogue, but also just Rogue in general plays a ton of shit. It's really cool with a card like maybe like Vanessa that we've already seen prepared. Also really cool with just really big late game bombs if they're mana reduced. I think this card is so cool. Now, I want to go back for a second here. Imagine you're playing Azalina Soulsever and you're going up against Rogue and you get Slice and Dice. All of a sudden, you're like, oh shit, that sounds really cool, Rarran. You're so right. That card's super cool and fun. We're definitely going to play it. Very good card. Also, this targets enemies if possible. This card is like, Alex, can you discover this card? I think you can, right? I wasn't 100% sure. But let's see the rest of the cards first before we go back to this. Very cool card. Defias Wannabe, 4 mana 2/2 with prepare combo, gain +1/+1 for each other card played this turn. Chat, look who's back. It's Edwin Light. Edwin from Temu has arrived. Now, actually, I should say this before we continue with the Rogue cards real fast. Remind yourselves one thing. This card's in the game. Which is Gadsden Auctioneer, basically. And it's funny, they gave you a little teaser because he's holding the Jade Golem right here, which is kind of sick. Now, you might be saying to yourself, Rarran, this card's poo. Right? This card's poo. I'm not going to prepare this card. But you don't really need to prepare this card if you don't want to. Right? The good thing about this card is that you're playing it in a class that's going to generate a lot of coins. So on that turn it's played, right, you may not even have to prepare this. Also, I do want to say for prepare, which is probably something not a lot of people are going to do because people are going to be very greedy for it. If you open this in your hand and you have no other play, you get to discount this by 2 mana. You know what I mean? So this could just be a 2 mana 2/2 for a future turn that you get to pop off with, and then it's just a bunch of stats. So, like, I know a lot of people are going to be extremely greedy with the prepare mechanic because you want to reduce it as much as you possibly can. But this card actually has sauce, which is great. Yeah, see, Alex is on my level. This is why he's on the team. I'm a huge fan of this. Basically, you summon a 1/1, a 2/2, and a 4/4 on turn 2 with this. Well, hold on. Did you not play classic Miracle Rogue? I guess Shadow Step's not in the game anymore, so maybe it gets a little bit worse. The Shadow Step has made this very nice, but you do have ways to generate coins. Anyways, we also got Picklock, which is a 1 mana 1/1. All numbers on this card equal your remaining mana. Battlecry, deal 1 damage to an enemy minion. So if you have 5 mana left over, this is a 5 mana 5/5, deal 5. All right, nothing too special. Alex, do you ever know how this works with Slice and Dice? Does it just come as a 1 mana 1/1? Preparing for 1 mana multiple times gives you the best value. Oh yeah, but you can only prepare once. Yeah. Only prepare once. This card I'm not 100% sure on. I think in Arena it could go crazy, but I'm not actually 100% optimistic this will see play in Standard. That being said, again, you do have a lot of ways to generate coins, so it is something. Black Paws Whip, 3 mana 3/2, cost 1 less for each coin you're holding. Death Rattle, draw a card. Kind of fits into that miracle vibe because you will be generating a lot of coins. On top of that, it's just another way for you to cycle with your auctioneer turn, which is crazy. And with Slice and Dice, you get an extra card at the end of your turn, which is fantastic. And you equip the weapon. Guarantee you try and coin this out on weapon on 1 when the expansion drops? No, I will not. No, I will not. No, I will not. I'm better than that. Dude, I was watching this streamer yesterday and like he had lethal and the guy had explosive trap, but he had Blood Mage Thalanos on board and he didn't kill it. So he actually lost the game and crashed out. It was fucking classic, bro. It was classic. We also got Lotus Bookie. 2 mana 2/2 Death Rattle, get a coin. Kind of I think kind of a sleeper card. I'm not gonna lie to you. Kind of a sleeper card. This card is it's just fine. Like it interacts with everything positively. It's just a fine card to play on turn 2, and it interacts with a ton of other cards we've seen for Rogue. Wait, is this all the Rogue cards they showed you? I feel like I saw more. Did I not? I guess that was it. Should it be Battle Cards and Shadow Step doesn't exist anymore? Why? Also, I didn't watch the whole video, chat. Did they show you what this card sounds like when it dies and attacks? This card is actually Nightmare Fuel. It's actually it still haunts me. I think about it consistently. Also, dude, where's the music, man? I'm just realizing I'm sitting here in fucking silence. I need some Mario Kart in my life. Go back. It sounds like when Rogue plays Deja Vu. Wait, what? Oh, I think this card's very good. I'm very optimistic in it. That's pretty much it for Rogue. I am excited to see what the rest of the cards look like, but I do think Rogue has a ton of potential. I'm also on board with the whole Rogue package. I do think Aya is very interesting, and most importantly, we'll have to wait and see how good Defias Wannabe is. But I do think this is a very, very interesting card, especially if you have it in the opening hand and you can prepare it. Because I would pay a 2 mana 2/2 for this effect in Rogue, so I'm kind of about it. See what happens. I feel like a lot of these cards is like, it's more of like a feel than theory. Is that just me? Like, I think it's very easy to be like, oh, this card's gonna suck, but I don't know. Can we all agree at least that we think Slice and Dice is kind of goated? I'm such a huge fan of this card. I like kind of like a big finisher, you know? And the fact that it ends your turn is very, very good. Why is Blizzard Show pre-recorded? We were saying slurs off camera. Okay, let's talk about Muggsy, which we've already seen before. 6 mana, 6/7, start a game. If your deck has no minions, you get Muggs hero power. If it has no spells, you get Z's. All right, this is Muggs. Muggs is your first minion each turn, costs 2 less. And Z's Might is every 5th minion you play triggers the battle cry twice. Okay? This is important. I have to remind you guys what this is, because when we go through the Shaman cards, this is actually very relevant. This card on its own may not seem extremely good. I'm actually really curious to see what the reviews are on a card like this, because I feel like this is a synergistic package that kind of works together. So if the whole package, like, could you guys agree with me on this one? That the Rogue package kind of works individually. Like, yes, they kind of synergize because that's the whole Miracle Rogue thing, but I think in a vacuum, they're kind of playable on their own. Where like this, I'm not 100% sure on. We'll have to wait and see what the reviewers on Hearthstone gave it. I'm very excited. We also have Tiny Pal, which is a 4 mana 2/3 battle cry. Choose your elemental and ammunition. I've talked about this card like twice, but we'll go through it once again. Basically, you have freeze 2 other random enemies. You have deal 1 damage to all enemies. You have summon a random 3-cost minion, give a taunt, and you have get a random battle cry minion, cost 2 less. I think for this card, no matter what the context is, you're only picking this one or you're only picking this one. I don't see a world where you really care about these ones unless you need to be the aggressor. Maybe this one's cool because you hit like a high roll nutty card, but for the most part, like these two are so much more valuable in my opinion. We'll have to wait and see what kind of deck Muggsy ends up being. Maybe you go for the mug and then that ends up being better with another effect of the Tiny Pal, but Tiny Pal just seems like a pretty decent card. Okay. We have Storm Fury. 7 mana lifesteal, do 2 damage to all enemy minions. If you cast 3 spells, you turn it into a minion. The minion is 7 mana, 7/7 lifesteal. Battlecry, deal 2 damage to all enemy minions. So this means if you're using Mug's hero power, which is probably going to be the case if you're going for all spells, this is going to be a 5 mana, 7/7. Which is probably going to be pretty likely to get if you're running a deck full of spells. So that's pretty awesome. I think for the most part, this is like almost like a Reno Jackson effect, depending on how wide your opponent's board is. Because also the minion's going to have lifesteal as well. And that could be a huge problem for your opponents. Cool card. Low security wing. 1 mana, get a random shaman minion. It's locked in your hand until you play another card. I'm going to be completely honest. I think this card is just kind of bad. But like, I feel like they should have said just discover a shaman minion. I think that would have been better. But maybe that's too good in a deck where you could potentially reduce the cost of minions and or trigger the battle cry twice. Like, I just feel like you're never that excited to play this. I just feel like you're never excited to play this. Maybe that's just me. It had to start as discover and it was too good. We'll never know. We'll never. It's 1 mana, get 3 cards. Okay, the way you got to look at it though is you're putting this card in your deck for another card, or instead of another card, right? Do you think 3 random minions is going to be better than a card that probably does something more on average? Right? Like that's the way you got to think about it, which I don't think that's worth it at all. I'd rather have other stuff. Maybe if you just get the best minion every single time, it's goated. I think it's really bad. Hex Marshal is a 6 mana 6/6 battlecry. Get a random spell that costs 5 or more. If your deck started with no spell, it costs 5 less. So if we go to Z's Might, every 5th minion you play triggers its battlecry twice. I guess it really depends on the pool of cards that are for this, but I'm not losing my mind on this. I feel like it's not that sick. How bad would the minion pool be? Well, let's take a peek, shall we? Taking all peeksies here. Like, we can just look, right? Like, you don't care about this. You don't care about this. You don't really care about this. You don't really care about this. You don't really care about this. Like, the list kind of goes on and on, actually. I'm just proving my point with it by just looking at the first, like, 2 lines. This card's interesting. Not 100% sure how good it will be. I also don't even know, like, if you're going for Mug or Z for the most part here. This is, what an interesting design card. All right, we also have Frost Shatter, which is 5 mana, freeze an enemy. Draw 2 cards, cast 3 spells to turn into a minion. Turns into a 5 mana 5/5 freeze an enemy and draw 2 cards. Not horrible. I could definitely see it get played if it's for a 3 mana 5/5 because of Mugsy's hero power. That's okay. You're probably just gonna play it just for additional spells. Now I want to talk about this beauty, boys. I want to talk about this. Disguised Detective. 1 mana 4/3 can be played on either side. Overload that player for 2. I think this card is fucking awesome. I love the idea of your opponent's going to go for a combo and you could hold this 1 mana 4/3 to give it to them so they can't do the combo that turn. I love the idea of just dropping a 1 mana 4/3 on your opponent on turn 1. Which is very interesting. Obviously you delay your next turn, but maybe that's not the case. But I think most of the time you're going to want to give this to your opponent. And I think that's what's going to make it very interesting. Again, I want to just reiterate how awesome Disguised as a mechanic is. I think this is a 10 out of 10 banger here. I think that the ideas, the lines you could think about with a card like this makes Hearthstone a better game. And yeah, you're probably going to get pretty upset when your opponent drops this on you or like, are you fucking serious? But at least you got a 1 mana 4/3. It's like a consolation. Really cool card. Also, I guess this is like one of the few times where interaction in Hearthstone can happen on your turn. Really, really cool card. Big fan of it. For you, it's a 2 mana 4/3 basically. Well, it technically be 3 because of the overload, but I think on average, this card's going to be played for your opponent. It just depends when. And like, you will get rewarded for a card like this, right? This is gonna be okay. Like, I'm gonna tell you basically what this is gonna be. Okay. This is the type of card where you're gonna copy it from someone who plays in top 100 legend, not understand why it's here. You're gonna play with it and be like, this card's ass, but not understand why it's good. I can already see the complaining about it. You can already see the complaining about it. It's crazy. Troll quest decks, if they go second. That's pretty funny. That doesn't really do anything though, I feel like. Anyways, cool card, really like it. Hijack security bot, 4 mana 3/3, prepare, battlecry, give your other minions +2/+2. You could make this a 0 mana 3/3, give your other minions +2, or +1/+1, sorry. I said +2/+2 because I was thinking about this one. Because every 5th minion you play triggers this battlecry twice. So if you can line it up, it's not horrible. You need a very particular deck for it, I feel like. Maybe some kind of like elemental shaman deck. Probably gonna be the line. Has potential. Really interesting card. Prepare just makes things so interesting. Because like normally I would never play this, right? Molten Gold is 3 mana, deal 4 caster spells that turn into a minion. This becomes a 3 mana 3/3 that deals 4. Also, reminder, I have to keep going back just so you can see the full potential here, that this will actually cost 1 mana 3/3 if it's the first minion you play on your turn, which is very good if we can get that down. That's insane. Also, the Lagio Goon, 1 mana 1/3. After you play a battlecry minion, give it +1/+1. Guys, what do we know about 1 mana 1/3s in Hearthstone? Pretty fucking strong. Pretty strong. Pretty good. Pretty, like, that's a good card. So this card has the potential to be very strong and kind of low-key reminds me of Undertaker, like just a little bit. Like if you just replace Battlecry with Death Rattle, it's the same thing, except for this one has an elemental tag on it. And why are you guys saying goon so much? Dude, I feel like when we did like the reveal video, they're like, you guys can't mention the word goon or whatever. I feel like it is. This buffs the minion on itself. Oh. Wait. I read this totally wrong then. I read this right during the reveal. Now this time I read it wrong. XD. I mean, it's still fucking sick, all right, Neil? All right, cool. Okay, we'll talk about Warlock again because I kind of breezed through it really fast yesterday. I think it's still insane. I think it's still insane though. Okay, Godfrey the Betrayer, 4 mana 5/4, start of game, overdrawn cards return to your hand when you have space. They cost 1 less. Is this the coolest card of all time, other than the Priest Rule Breaker? And the gamers are giving this basically a 5. Basically a 5. 5 is crazy for this. I mean, it's a really cool effect. Really cool effect. And because it's start a game, that means you can be very liberal with how you draw cards. And because they also reduce the cost by 1, that's awesome. Now, I did hear yesterday that apparently the cards return to your hand in a random order, which I think is very weird. I would assume it would be like first in, first out. But if it is in a random order, this card is a little bit worse. But I think on average, you're probably just fine with playing it. It probably gets played in like every Warlock deck from here on out, other than like some kind of aggro deck. Very bad design, no punishment for counting. Brother.
It's a rule breaker. That's kind of the point. I don't think you're understanding that's kind of the point.
No downside while Rogue has to go second? What the fuck? What do you mean? Bro, the Rogue card is... You guys are a bunch of haters, I swear. I've never seen bigger haters in my life. It's actually crazy. Anyways, Spire of Solitude, 5 mana. Summon a demon with stats equal to your hand size. It attacks a random enemy minion. So now with Godfrey... You have the ability to summon very, very big minions because you could just draw your hand size all the way up and then summon a 10/10, which is cool. And not worry about burning a card. This also has like rush to an extent, which is cool. You don't get to pick the attack, but on average, it's probably gonna be good. Also, just very, very good over the course of 2 turns. Cool card. Love Handlock. One of my biggest fan. I'm like maybe its biggest fan of all time. If I'm dead, the Handlock has no fans. We also have Cage Cranium, which is a 3-mana 3/1. Taunts, battlecry, gain +1 health for each card in your hand. Bro, this card's a motherfucker, man. Turn 3, you're probably summoning what? The 3/7? 3/6, 3/7? Depending on what else you have. David, what's up, dude? Very cool card. 3/18 with Dark Gift. That's kind of sick. This card just ends aggro decks. Like, it's actually insane. Speaking of ending aggro decks as well, Shadow rounds 2 mana, deal 2 damage to an enemy minion. If it dies, cast this on another random enemy minion, which is Defile. A little bit worse than Defile. I actually would highly prefer having Defile, but this card does have a lot of potential, especially against aggro decks where your opponent just kind of floods the board. This is kind of a very good answer to enter the Tolvir or whatever it is, confront the Tolvir, because most of the time that board is going to die to Shadow rounds, depending on obviously how many 3-cost health they have. I think it's sick. Isn't this the Shaman Overload repeatable flame, but insanely better? Depends on how much you're interacting with the overload from that card. You choose the additional targets. No, it's random. All of it's random. You can't hit elusive with this because it is random. The 1/3 is going to be ass 11. I'm not going to lie to you, but there are ways with spell damage for this to be very, very good. Okay, and then we have the Unseen Atlas, a 10 mana, draw 3 cards, cost 1 less for each card in your hand, which is obviously just very good with this because you don't care about drawing cards because now you don't burn any of them. And I don't know about you guys, I'm kind of a huge fan of 0 mana, draw 3 cards, reduce their cost by 1. I think we've seen that before. I think it was a card in Stormwind that was like a weapon. Kind of. Anyways, Warlock looks sick. As a Warlock enjoyer myself, I'm a big fan. Godfrey looks cool, and I'm about it. Now, what was the last class that was showcased? Did I miss one? Yeah, what was the other class that was showcased yesterday? Was it Demon Hunter? I actually do not remember it. It was so long ago. Hold on. I gotta go back and look. Okay, hold on. Demon Hunter? It was Demon Hunter. Mithril Rod is the best weapon ever. I don't think it compares. You know what's crazy about Mithril Rod, dude? There was a streamer that said that card is unplayable. That was good times, man. Good times. All right. We've seen this card before, so we don't have to really talk about it, but really, really interesting design here. All right, Hellraiser. Well, actually, I guess I have to talk about this. So basically, 4 mana, 7/5 lifesteal battlecry. Send your deck to the void. At the start of your turns, get 2 cards from the void. Cool card. Really good at, I think, in like an aggressive deck. Huge fan. The most important thing to realize about this card is that your deck is gone, so you will draw fatigue when you play this because your deck is no longer in the deck slot. It's in the void. So this is where Hellraiser, 3 mana 2/2 battlecry, discover a card in your deck. If it's empty, gain +4/+4 becomes slightly better. Don't think it's very good. I think most of the time you're probably more happy doing a 3 mana 2/2 discover a card in your deck. But if you already played the void, you're getting a 3 mana 6/6. Cosmic. Wait, what is that, sorry? Do we know how this works with KJ? Well, the card just, okay, imagine you have your deck slot and you're like, I want to put it to the void. So you put it to the void. Now your deck is empty. You're drawing fatigue. If you play Kill Jaden, your old deck that was there now turns into the portal because that's what Kill Jaden does. but you still have the void because the void isn't your deck anymore. You know what I'm saying? Right? Right? You draw 3 cards. Yeah, I'm assuming that's how it would work. 2 mana, deal 2 damage, shuffle a random Demon Hunter spell into your deck, outcast, do it again. XD. Now, that being said, 2 mana to deal 2 damage and do it twice is kind of sick. Like, I don't even think you care about shuffling a random Demon Hunter spell into your deck. You're probably playing this for burn. Most importantly, too, because it is outcasted, you can get it off Studies, which is currently in the core set for Demon Hunter. Which, maybe that enables some kind of burn deck for Demon Hunter. I'm praying on Demon Hunter's downfall, so fuck that, but we'll see how it goes. Captive, 10 mana, 6/12, prepare taunt, all minions cost 2 more. This card I feel like might just be bad. I was really thinking to myself, what mana cost would you have to prepare this for you to feel good about playing this? Remember, you have to prepare. Captive Nathrazim. Why you guys say Reading Coward? I'm just trying to go faster because I don't have that much time today. Perk, what's up, man? Card makes Studies worse. Oh, we're talking about the last card. Yeah, it'll be generated from the Eternal Hold, but I don't even think that's that good. Actually, I guess from the Eternal Hold, that's fucking crazy. Also, it's not very flavorful because look, he's like in a jail cell currently. That crazy. Cinema. Dark Bribe, which she's seen. I think that's it, right? That's all the new cards. I guess we can go through the neutrals that I've talked about very, very fast yesterday. Hey, Alex, are you in the chat still? Please tell me Alex is here. I don't understand this card. I'm praying for a dev to be here. Please.
6280 is a big cat.
Yo, 62, bro. Wait, is that how you say that? Did Goofy say that properly? 6280. I guess with the J. That's kind of cool. What language is that? Hey, does anyone know for sure if discard works on this? It is confirmed. Like, so if this is in my hand and I discard it, it does 3 damage to all the characters. Just so I can clear. Just so I can understand it. Isn't that fucking silly? Isn't that a little broken? Because Warlock currently in Standard has... They literally have cards that just say pick a card in your hand, discard it. So probably pretty good. Probably a good card. That's how that works. If it doesn't interact with discarding, I don't know if destroying is enough. Destroying cards in your deck is good enough to see play. I'm not sure. Yo, Tom Dookie. Thank you for the sub, man. 6-7 indeed. Okay, Alarm-O-Matic, 3 mana 0/3 at the start of your turn. Swap this minion with a random one in your opponent's hand. Okay, I feel like this card is made for me. This is a Cant and Andy card for sure. And there will be cinema moments with it. It'll be fantastic. Infernal works with Godfrey. That makes sense. That makes sense. Slower, Rat. You're not seeing the picture here, brother. This isn't a Rat gamer moment. This is the dream moment. I am in line at Disneyland, about to go on Space Mountain. I drop the Alarm-O-Matic. I pull their best card from their deck, aka a Colossal. GG, I was the Alarm-O-Matic. You know what I mean? That's the dream, man. Also, this has a 2.50 rating. Are we smoking crack? The Priest, where's Priest? Hold on. How is the Priest card only 0.09 above the Alarm-O-Matic, guys? Are we for real? I can't, man. I just scrolled past every card again. Hold on. Okay, anyways. We all know the dream here, but the dream's probably not going to come to fruition. But if it does come to fruition, that's going to be a good game. All you need is one, bro. All you need is the one time where they don't have any removal. All they need is one. All right, Frantic Forager, 2 mana, 2/2 battlecry. Get a random playable spell that is temporary. Card is ass. I'm very confident. How does this have a 4.56? Nah, dude, these guys are trolling. They're gooners. $4.56 is mental. I think this card's very bad. Get a random playable spell is not something I'm very excited for. You don't play it on curve. Hey, but remind yourself to put a card in your deck. Not only is it in your deck now, so you will draw it, but also you are replacing another card that could be in your deck. You know what I mean? Like, if you're putting this in your deck, you are replacing another card that could be in your deck. You get what I mean? You get what I'm saying? And that matters. I think it's really bad. I don't think I'm ever playing it. So Azalina could be replaced with another card. But like Azalina, okay, as much as you guys are shitting on Azalina, like you can't sit here and tell me it doesn't look fun to play with, right? Like, are we saying Forager is on the same fun level as Azalina? No, we're trolling. We're trolling. Get over yourselves. Also, like, hold on. One second. I'm just gonna test something here real fast. Hold on. Will make sense in a second. Okay. Now read the card and tell me if you think it's good. I think that's crazy, bro. Activated Golem, 4 mana, 4/5 at the end of each turn, gain Reborn. Guys, there's no way this has a higher rating than Azalina. Like, we're trolling. We're trolling, bro. There's no way, man. 4 mana, 4/5 with Reborn is like super frustrating sometimes in Arena, I guess. Yeti's pissed. Yeti's pissed. Other than that, horrible. Not seeing play. It doesn't even have like a tag or anything. Reckless Detective, 4 mana, 4/4 rush. Death Battle, get detective clothes that give +4/+4 and rush. And that is 4 mana to give a minion +4/+4 and rush. Probably unplayable. I don't even know when I would want this. I'm actually kind of shocked that this is 4 mana. I feel like it could be a little cheaper. I guess it's almost like no, it's horrible. I'm trying to cope my way through this. This has a better rating than Azalina too, by the way. Yo, McSwansy, welcome back for 18, man. I love you. That's 2 years. Big dog, welcome back. That's not 2 years. I'm fucking lying. We've had 2 kids is what I meant to say. I was thinking it doesn't seem play. That's what I'm saying. Like, this card's ass 11, no? You see this? Oh, no, have we seen this card in the game yet? We saw the spell damage one. I've seen that guy a little bit. Defy a Smuggler, 3 mana, 2/3. I think I've already seen this card. What card did I miss? Pickpocket's a 2 mana, 2/3 battlecry. If your deck has 25 or more cards, draw a card. This card I think is playable in Azalina decks and the Warrior deck. That's gonna duplicate all your legendaries. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got for you guys. The mech, which is cool. I guess if you shuffle more stuff in your deck, you have more draw. Which is interesting. Concealing Confection, a 1 mana, 1/2 death while getting a random weapon. Guys, can we be honest here? How is this a 4? Sorry. How was this a 4? I guess in aggro, maybe it's got some sauce. Because most of the, I guess most of the weapons in standard are just like fine if you need a little bit more reach, which is good. I think that's about it, right? Anything else I missed in here? I think this card's goated, bro. I'm so excited to play this card. Also, art is so sick. Like, holy man. 12, what's up, man? Good morning. Skull, I hope I saw you too. Super, what's up, man? Anyways, I just want to finish this discussion off with something that's a little bit more important. Guys, are you excited for this Hearthstone set? I'm not paid for this. I'm not paid for this. Genuinely, I'm asking. I think this set looks really fun. So I'm hoping, like, I'm praying to God I'm excited to play this set. Like, I'm praying to God. You know how, can I tell you guys something? You guys are not going to believe me, but sometimes I sit in my room really, like, with no lights on, I put on rain sounds, and I sit there in the middle of the room manifesting that I like this game more. All right, anyways,